Ms. Kuman, our co-convener for this session. Let me appreciate the President of the PNG Mining and Petroleum Chambers, Mr. Anthony Marape, and your executives for ensuring that this day is possible. The session is starting and this conference underway. I do acknowledge all our leaders who are here with me, notably amongst us Chief Sir Peter Peras, who is sitting here in person to ensure that he gives evidence to the fact that leaders are behind this conference. In fact, this is one, if not the greater conference that is taking place almost every year to ensure the world and our investors out there get to know what PNG is all about in the context of mining and petroleum sector in our country. And I do acknowledge the Grand Chief Sir Peras. I do convey our apologies for other leaders. We have our government caucus and parliamentary businesses that are continually in session as we continue from this sitting of Parliament, and so they're not able to join me today. But some will join you all tomorrow as we give respect to the industry or the industries that contribute to about 26% to 30% of our country's economic sector, as well as in terms of export volume in the high 80% in total export that our country produces every year in recent years. And so we will give respect where it is due to the mining and the petroleum space or sector in our country. But at this note, let me firstly give all of you who are tuning in a special welcome from Papua New Guinea. If you're in Brisbane, well, Brisbane is a stopover for many Papua New Guineans. Papua New Guinea is a business address for well over 5,000 Australian businesses, big, medium, and small. And so welcome to those of you who are in Brisbane. Thank you very much for your attendance to the meeting. As well as us here in Port Moresby, we are very much thrilled to know we are being joined by well over 300 to 400 participants through the virtual technology. And so we offer greetings from Papua New Guinea. Wherever you are right across planet Earth, Papua New Guinea people, citizens, businesses who are presently in existence convey our warmest greetings to each and every one of you. Just to give you all a snapshot from leadership perspective, Papua New Guinea has never been an uncertain place of investment. We are an existing nation that is an oil and gas and mining nation, as evident in the fact that quite a substantial part of our GDP has its anchor in the mining and oil and gas space. Papua New Guinea is a traditional mining and oil and gas country. Irrespective of government that comes in and goes out by seasonal politics, our goalpost remains fixed and static. That is something investors right across planet Earth must know from the outset. We are a robust democracy. Our judiciary is totally independent from the executive government. Our parliament functions every term of parliament, and I preside as head of the executive government in the 10th parliament. We're going into election on time and on schedule for our 11th parliament next year. We've had successfully 10 democratic elections since 1977. We've been independent as an independent nation since 1975. Right through the course of our nationhood, 46 years on, despite every part of our country experiencing the usual law and order issues from time to time, our country has never failed to live on. Our country has never failed to honor legally binding commitments. Our country remains picking up the slacks of projects. For instance, we picked up the legacy of Bougainville crisis. We're picking up social and local issues that goes around all projects that we sign up with. We as government have been important partners to all mining and oil and gas companies who has lived and operated in our country. And for the record, and for those who are junior miners And for those who are junior in the oil and gas business, we have the privilege as a nation to host world-class investors. Our country has hosted Placer-Dong. Our country has hosted BHP. Our country has hosted Chevron. What was Chevron before in our country, and the company that was operating the first oil and gas project, in fact, oil project in our country from my part of Papua New Guinea. Today, we have ExxonMobil's business address in our country. We have Total's business address in our country. We have Barrick's business address in our country. We have Santos' business address in our country. We have JX Nippon of Japan. They have been a consistent business resident in our country for many years. And so it is undisputed that Papua New Guinea finds itself a welcomed business address for world-class investors. And so I just want to say up front to members who are tuning in and participating, have no doubt, politics can be played by Papua New Guineans in all strata of society, but Papua New Guinea lives on. We play politics in the robustness of our democracy, but the goalposts for investments are fixed because we play within a robust constitution that is, in all manner and form, subscribing to the democratic principles and ideals. And I just want to comfort everyone who are tuning in. Don't be disheartened. Don't see COVID-19 as a time in which you become inclusive and look within. Crisis creates opportunities. In Papua New Guinea, opportunities are bound. If Total can still remain here and working with government through and through without going to media every now and then and to progress Papua, if Barrick can remain with the country and working through issues and without going to the media in every instance, and if ExxonMobil remains fixed to our commitment to deliver to the fullest expectation, the PNG LNG project agreement that was signed in 2009 and is still honored today by our government, 3 governments on from the time it was signed. The National Alliance-led government signed in 2009 and 10. The PNC-led government carried it through in its fullest form and shape and size and intent in the 8 years they were in power. And my government, honoring the agreement that was signed over 10 years ago, this is a testament to the robustness of our democracy, our country that believes in the rule of law, and what is legally signed will carry on. And so I'd like to encourage everyone who are listening in from the outset, Papua New Guinea is not a place to fear in as far as your investment dollar is concerned or investment kina is concerned. We have had world-class investors in us, and I beg a pardon to my friends in Newcrest and Harmony. They are part of our world-class investors in our country. And so we are open for business today, as we have been open for business the last 46 years, and we will be open for business into the next 46 years and beyond. Papua New Guinea is placed in a very interesting part of planet Earth. In the next 100 years, I am no prophet, but I can tell you the next 100 years is the years that belongs to the Asian tiger economies. Papua New Guinea lives closest to the 1.5 billion people in China. We have been in good relationship with China since 1975, amongst the first nation to declare a one China policy. We still keep up till today. We are a friend and close associate to the 1.5 billion people in India. We are a friend and associate to the 110 million people in Japan who were amongst the first to be the traditional buyer or the anchor buyer of our PNG LNG project. We have good relationship with rest of the 500 million people plus in Asia west of us, the 110 million people in Philippines, the 280 million people in Indonesia. And so Papua New Guinea, with close proximity to the Asian marketplace, is a very exciting place for investment. And this place stands open as we have been open for the last 46 years to investment. And as the catchphrase goes, the early birds picks up the worm. For those who want to come in, we have been open for business. We are still open today. And I point to you 5 projects that, in my view, remains our lowest hanging fruits. The presentation from Total will inform this esteemed August conference that Papua LNG project has never been off track. Papua LNG project is working on time, on schedule. The project partners, led by Total, assisted by Exxon, and assisted by PNG government's flagship company, Petroleum, and all partners in the Papua LNG are working on time. We are on schedule for pre-feed. They're running feed and pre-feed together. FID will possibly be in 2023, 2024. And of course, if we can get Papua LNG synchronized with what is now being ramped up in our discussions with ExxonMobil for Pinang, then we have construction synergies. Papua LNG, Pinang LNG, that could easily mean for us a 2-train in Papua LNG confirmed, an additional 4 TCF of gas from Pinang, combining into a synergy that should see our economy and our country being increased in as far as our LNG production capacity is concerned, from a present 2-train from PNG LNG to incorporate what will be 2 trains from Papua LNG and the possible extension of us as a gas-producing nation beyond 2060s, with Pinang coming on board later on. And so those exciting activities that are going on in the oil and gas, we have the headline noises, and I don't say news because noises that our partners in Twinja has been, in Pasca, I beg your pardon, has been making on and off. Please, look at Total as an inspiration. Look at ExxonMobil as an inspiration. They don't run to the media in every instance. They work with government. Government is here to stay. If you feel that government has an issue by way of policy, then we only a letter away. We only a phone call away. We only a meeting away. We only a session away. We are not running a dictatorship in as in many parts of the world. We're running a democracy. A democracy means meeting. Democracy means talking. Democracy means consensus. Democracy means making decisions that is good for all, including our investors, especially in respect to the internal rate of return for the shareholders and for the various boards that our investors hold. So as I said earlier, our 5 low-hanging fruits in the oil and gas and mining space, in the oil and gas, as I mentioned earlier, Papua and Pinang, and of course the Pasca project is being now moved into our state negotiating team level, and for the mining space, Pogra and Wafi-Golpu still remains our 2 projects that we are moving towards conclusion. So when these projects come on board, Papua New Guinea it will be evident that we do not change goalposts in between. We honor commitments we've made in those who have secured legally binding licenses, whether at exploration stage or at development stage. Governments come in, governments go out, but the honor of those agreements will stand the test of time. I just want to step out of the mining and oil and gas space for the time being and move into economy. Yesterday we handed down a budget, and the interesting aspect of the numbers we put out from our 2022 budget was that our economic outlook had, and under instruction from myself, had no consideration of the positive impact that Papua LNG, that Pinang LNG, that possible Pasca LNG, Wafi-Golpu, and all the other projects will contribute to our economy post-2023 and beyond. I asked our Treasury team, and we were given oversight by IMF and our friends from Australia to look at our economic modeling into the 2020s and beyond. As we open the window of what our economy will be for the next 10-year plus, based on our focus on downstream processing, especially our sustainable industries, forestry, fisheries, agriculture, and of course, our greater push for downstream industry in the mining space, downstream industry, especially in the domestic market side of things for our gas that we will secure with our partners. The little bit of gas they give for our domestic market obligations. As we model them, I instructed our treasury, don't input Papua LNG numbers, don't input Pinyang numbers and Wafi-Golpu numbers into them. We are working them. If they come as a big bonus for us. The look into economy, so from the trajectory that we have modeled or carved out for our nation, we have consistency declining in deficit for the next few years. As most of you would have known, economists in the room, when I took government, I inherited a fiscal deficit of 5.6%. When we took office in 2019, we restructured, put all our sovereign debts as well as inherent debts that we were carrying in many of our state-owned enterprises onto the table. And we established our deficit proper to at around 8% by 2020. And from an 8% deficit, we reduced to around 7.6% last year. And for next year, we're focusing our deficit to be at 5.6. So we're running on a fiscal consolidation strategy. And as Treasurer did alluded to, next year, we'll be hitting possibly a surplus in 2027. And we're on our way to a total debt eradication if governments into the future choose to walk down this path by 2034. So at the greater scale, Papua New Guinea is confident as we are. The earning from our revenues, from our oil and gas, from our mining, from agriculture, from our forestry, from our fisheries, and I point to fisheries. For those of you who've been worrying about our intention for refinery and mint in the gold industry, it's something we're not in a rush to go into. Our industry, Newcrest, Barrick, and all our existing players will be deeply consulted. But you could see on the other side of our economy, we're now investing 100 million kina into Medang and Manus maritime zones for all our fish catch to be brought on shore to value add to our economy. And so the value-adding downstream processing concept or discussions we're having as government is not just strictly confined to the mining space or the petroleum space. It's a general step back for us as a body of leaders to look into what we have achieved in the last 46 years. The last 46 years achievement still stands, that 80% of our people remain marginalized and in the rural enclaves of our country. That is a set statistics I as a leader inherit today. And for the next 10, 15, 20 years, I want to unlock Papua New Guinea so that all citizens have equal opportunity, like those of us who live in conference rooms and in the ambience of modern comfort. And so in this pursuit, we're trying to go into an unlocking of our resources and going for partnership with all resource developers in our country. That is why in the oil and gas and mining space, you have Kumul Petroleum and Kumul Mining as partner in the extractive industry or partner in the oil and gas business and in the mining business. When you have Kumul Petroleum and Kumul Mining as your partner, you rest assured that your goalpost is fixed. They're your equal partners in this business, and they give you the added security you need to ensure that government is at your fingertips to attend to not just business issues, but more importantly, the social issues that you work and operate in PNG and the place of extraction of the resources. So I just want to give comfort to our investors who are tuning in, especially the junior investors and potential new investors who want to know what Papua New Guinea is all about. In summary, we are a democracy. If there is any dispute between government or agencies of government or landowners and investors, our judiciary and courtrooms have been a fair place for all our investors and all people who have residency in Papua New Guinea. We have been a known investment address for many of world-class investors over the last 46 years, and we will be, because Exxon is here to stay with us for the next 20 years, 30 years plus. Total is here to stay with us for the next 20 years, 30 years plus. Newcrest, Harmony, Barrick, JX Nippon. So this is the place of evidence for you to see as potential investors in Papua New Guinea. Fear not. Elections can come and go. Prime ministers can be changed. but Papua New Guinea as a robust place of investment remains, and these companies who've been with us have been making a good rate of return on their shareholders. You only have to ask oil sets. They came in as a team of unknowns in 1908. I just said they're folding today, but if they choose not to fold, they will still remain one of Papua New Guinea's flagship oil and gas company. But over 100 years of being in Papua New Guinea, they grew from absolutely zero portfolio into a billion kina business that is now merging or fusing into with Santos to move into a tier one sort of oil and gas company. That is evidence that you need to see a company from zero into billion kina in PNG over 100 years. And government stood with that company in good or bad times to make sure a company returns dividend to its shareholders. What more evidence you need for PNG to be shown to you as an investment destination? We have the majors in our country. I ask everyone, for exploration, we will give the exploration incentives you need. For investment, we've been known to give incentives that the investment companies need, and we remain the same in as far as working with investors, giving them the correct protective environment, ensuring that they invest and we secure the investment as government always do. And I give you commitment. My government or any government into the future will always be a welcoming place for investors in our country. In the mining and oil and gas space, you have contributed substantially to our GDP. And you're a huge exporter for our forex in our country. That respect remains, and today my presence here is a testament that the headlines goes off, but the core focus in the oil and gas and mining business remains, and we're here to support the sector. Thank you very much for the invitation.